know anything you don't already know. Or do anything you don't already do. All you have to do is be you. You are the controller. Introducing Kinect for Xbox 360.
Launching for the Xbox 360 in November of 2010 as an attempted competitor to Nintendo's Wii phenomenon, Microsoft's Kinect peripheral promised to revolutionize not just gaming, but the way you consumed entertainment in general. Or Xbox hoped it would, at least. The camera, which boasted real-time speech, gesture, and body skeletal recognition, was the subject of much ridicule online and was discontinued in 2017. This culminated with the extremely unpopular decision to bundle a Kinect with the Xbox One, forcing a camera into the home of every purchaser of Microsoft's latest console. Kinect's legacy, then, is one of wonky readings.
Wha-bam! There it is.
A rough software library, horrid E3 presentations, and a failure to live up to promises made by gaming's best and brightest.
Claire has been thrown a pair of goggles. Notice what she did. This wasn't acted.
But with which games did it all start? Well, today I'll be looking back through the UK launch lineup of Kinect games, playing them and sort of reviewing them as I go. Are you ready? Then let's do this. Right. Do you think that was noticeable, that that was all on green screen?
No,
or?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what they say, safety is important on the slopes, and so I put on my helmet. Known in the US as Adrenaline Misfits, but without the E for some reason, Crossboard 7 is in fact not the 7th game in the Crossboard franchise, but rather the first, and labours you with hopping on a plank of wood and sliding downhill better than anyone else. Oh, and I should mention that this game is chock full of furries. 7, in fact. Oh, wait, now I understand the title. More furries and boards are unlocked as you progress through the game, with fan favourites like Gloopy, Blazer, and Fridge sure to resonate with people of all ages, you know, if the game controlled decently enough. Yes, as will no doubt become a recurring theme in this video, the controls are not good. As you'd expect, tilting from side to side will steer your furry, and jumping will cause your avatar to do the same. Problem is that there's not a great deal of subtlety to the movement, and you're either barely turning at all or slamming into a wall at bloody Mach 10. The variety of game modes are decent, allowing you to partake in more than a simple race to the finish, but from the boards that include both a power and speed stat, what's the difference please? To the glide mechanic where you float so slowly that you end up in last place, to Fridge being a massive bully.
Stop, just leave me alone.
And the overabundance of rad tude.
Fastest run so far.
It's all a bit rubbish, really. 50% on Metacritic. Takes some lovely embarrassing screenshots, though. Oh, good! Well, we all knew there'd be at least one dancing game on here, so it's time for me, once again, to be a bit vulnerable and bare my complete lack of dancing talent to the world. Joy. Now, I may look like your 56-year-old mother attending her first Zumba class, but it's all in the name of making cool new friends. I mean, just look at these really cool kids living it up in the big city and honestly not really doing all that much dancing, to be honest. Is it just going to be me? Thankfully, with the intro cutscene out of the way, I was able to meet my brand new best friends face to face and dance the night away to a selection of contemporary pop hits. Small Dog, Lady Giggles, and Sergeant Child were all there waiting for me. Rather than expecting you to interpret mystifying and vague images of dance moves as featured in the likes of Just Dance, Dance Central actually goes one step further, giving you the opportunity to break down songs move by move and be taught how to actually do the dance.
You are clearly a pro. That was perfect.
Oh, stop it, you. This guy's a proper liar, but it's a cool feature nonetheless. However, nothing could have prepared my cool dance friends for the freestyle portion of the song, where, training wheels off, I really showed them what I was made of. Please, hold your applause. Stop now. Rather incredibly, critics were united in their praise for Dance Central, awarding it 82% on Metacritic and calling it not only a step forward for dancing games, but also the best launch title the Kinect had to offer. Having proven myself Lord of the Dance, however, I'm just glad I don't have to do any more. Oh, for f***'s sake. Roll right up, everyone. Time for another dancing masterclass. At the very least, we have what the critics considered at least a very competent dancing game to act as a direct comparison, and Dance Evolution, or Dance Masters if you want to get non-European about this, is, well, it's not as good. I mean, it's not a brilliant sign that the performers in the introductory video package all look a bit bloody knackered, and the bright and stylized art from Dance Central is gone, replaced here with the sort of moody, beige, Vaseline-smeared visuals that would make Ryu Hayabusa oh so jealous. That's right, ninja reference. You will by now, of course, have noticed that I'm in the game. Look at me, I'm right there, fitting in incredibly naturally. Rather than merely displaying a silhouette of your visage, Dance Evolution takes the extra step of actually cutting you out from your environment and plopping you on stage with the other dancers as the camera pans across. It's not perfect, of course, but it's by far the most significant thing this game does. The dancing itself, however, is somehow even harder than deciphering the Just Dance hieroglyphics, with interpretive, and that's putting it kindly, movements indicated as they're happening with no time to prepare. Unhelpfully, the tutorial is horribly dull, with voiceoverless text slowly displayed to walk you through the game's features. Regardless, as I was thrust onto the stage for all to see, there was clearly no way for me to hide my embarrassment, so I just bloody went for it. Oh, never mind then. 63% according to Metacritic. You know what they say, safety is important when getting punched in the face and body and groin and arms and legs, and so I put on my helmet. Oh, finally, a real man's game for men. No more of this silly dancing nonsense. Let's get some brain damage. Is there a more absurdly appropriate way to start this game than by punching? Feels right. Firstly, the menus. Navigating them is bad. Eventually, I did manage to make it to the tutorial section, which was boring beyond words. Here's how to do a straight punch. Do it 3 times. Okay, cool. Now here's how to do a straight punch, but with your left arm. Do it 3 more times. Every single move in the game, it makes you do it 3 times for each side of your body. Enough of that, I thought. I get the idea. It's a Kinect game. I'll just style it out. So I made my way over to Fight, where you've got to rise through the ranks of various violent leagues, and you'll never guess what, it made me do the training again. This time, however, I also had to fight my trainer multiple times. He's exhausted. I'm bloody exhausted. Eventually, mercifully, I graduated from training and got to take on the likes of Ryder, Ratface, and El Luchador, who didn't do any luchador moves. The fights are varied in that some are faster or hit harder than others, but God, it's tedious. I even discovered that a valid technique in one of the fights was just to march in place so you kicked them over and over again. There we are. Look at me go. Doing my taxes there. Reviewers did not like this one, with the tutorial drawing particular criticism. It was called mind-numbing and the most boring tutorial sequence in the history of the world, with the average score landing on just 32%. Oh my god, is that what the bottom of an avatar's shoe looks like? Never thought I'd see the day. Here it is, Kinect Adventures, where your avatar, mine being our very own Billy Ray Walrus, hits balls and rides on rafts, and you get to look like a great flippin' idiot while they do so. Win-win. It's a minigame collection, ostensibly, featuring jump-in, jump-out multiplayer and a number of different ways to fracture limbs and/or furniture in your house. Most of the game's controlled just fine, but I definitely had an issue with the rafting game, where you have to steer by stepping to the left and right, collecting tokens as you go, as it kept registering my default central position to the far left of my play area, making it just as dangerous to navigate our studio as the raging torrent of water. Thankfully, the leak plugging minigame worked a lot better. Requiring you to use your hands and feet to prevent water entering the glass cage you're locked in, this activity showed impressive body tracking on the part of the Kinect. It did get me thinking about why I was down here, though. Who did this to me? Why are the fish being so horrible? And man, that logo looks familiar, doesn't it? A trip to space to pop some bubbles later, and I'd sampled most of what Kinect Adventures had to offer. It's a decent, if unremarkable, Kinect showcase, but one that would more than likely keep kids happy for a bit, and critics seem to think so as well, awarding it 61% on Metacritic. You know what they say, safety is important when crashing cars into walls, and so I put on my helmet. I can do this. In first place, coming up on the finish. Over the speed boost and... Oh no, 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 you bastard! This is Kinect Joy Ride, a racing game that sort of works. The game controls by having the player extend their arms like they're holding a steering wheel, but they're not, and your arms will get tired. You then turn the imaginary wheel to steer, pull back and then push forward to boost, turn your body in midair to perform tricks, and you don't need to worry about silly things like braking or acceleration, because the game handles that for you. In theory. We find ourselves again with a Kinect launch game that features a horrible menu, and browsing it feels painfully sluggish. Fight through it and you can unlock cars and even customize them with the fan currency from competing in events. Naturally had to select an ill-suited camper van, and in original TripleJump orange too. A few events are on offer, from straight-up races to Smash, in which you run over lots of little men for some reason, and it all ends far too quickly after a fairly lengthy load, to be honest. My personal favourite mode was Stunt, where you get dropped into a massive half-pipe and boost up each side, crashing through cherries and bombs and proving you're the best on a pedal bike at doing stunts on that. Problem is, it just doesn't control very well at all, and I never felt like I had much agency over what I was actually doing. IGN also criticised the controls, awarding it 6 out of 10, with the average settling on just 52%. Oh yeah, here we go, sports time! I've played a sports collection before. Go big or go home. Home, we're going home. But I've never participated in a sports collection, so I'm going to give this everything I've got. That felt good, been a while. Kinect Sports was developed by Rare, and while a sports minigame collection was never going to set the world on fire, you can definitely feel a sense of quality here. I began by warming up the crowd, waving, dabbing, and trying to break parts of my avatar's body. And it's a good thing I did. This crowd has a lot of cheers to do today as I demonstrate my sporting supremacy in such disciplines as football, bowling, track and field, boxing, beach volleyball, and table tennis. The presentation is impressive too, with great care put into the pre-sports close-ups and commentary. It did feel a little unnatural for every encounter in football to be a one-on-one affair, and it was far too easy to score, but it was intuitive and the Kinect did a decent enough job of tracking my movement. Bowling, however, wasn't the easiest to control, and the ball did keep veering off to one side, but I'm fairly sure that this is the same Kinect bowling game from that episode of Parks and Rec, and that makes me happy.
Why don't you play with the real one?
Oh, I like this one better. Little guy looks like me.
A fairly surprising amount of brand advertising aside, I was really quite impressed with this one. The sports are varied, all have their own unique presentation, and despite some wobbles here and there, with table tennis in particular feeling very delayed input-wise, they all control simply enough too. Kinect Sports received a review average of 73% on Metacritic, was the winner of the BAFTA Family Game of the Year in 2011, and was nominated for 5 other awards. Great stuff. Oh yes, that awkward as hell E3 presentation from 2010. It's a launch game.
Okay, Skittles, what's enough?
Kinectimals is a difficult one to define because it is not, as I had assumed, some kind of pet simulator or Tamagotchi equivalent. It is instead, I suppose, a series of mini-games with a baby big cat thrown in for good measure. After watching an intro cutscene that introduced both the big cats on offer and what I can only describe as an amalgam of a ferret and a dragonfly, truly an abomination in God's eyes, I got to pick my choice of feline. Hang on, was that one in a car? I went with the tiger and tried to call it Bonticular the Destroyer IV, but Kinect didn't understand that, so I settled for Jeff. From there, the disgusting monster talked us through the island about how a pirate brought them all together and how they would all play before he left some time ago. Your goal then is to move from one section of the island to another, collecting pieces of the map and discovering secrets and treasure. Traditional pet care game stuff is in there though, including teaching Jeff tricks as well as feeding and grooming him, but you'll mainly be engaging in activities, which really does make Kinectimals a thinly disguised minigame collection. Don't get me wrong, it's nicely presented and the controls and voice commands work for the most part, but I really did believe the animal portion of the game would play a much bigger role. It is for very young children though, and this was reflected in the critical consensus, which agreed to rate it a very decent 74%. You know what they say, safety is important when it's full contact sports time, and so I put on my helmet. Oh yeah, here we go, sports time! I've played a sports collection before. But I've still never participated in a sports collection, so I'm going to give this everything I've got. Why no helmet for Kinect Sports, but I've put one on for Motionsports? Well, because this one is crap, 40% according to Metacritic, and this one has an American footballer on the cover. Gotta be safe. Yep, it's another one of these, this time developed and published by Ubisoft. First off, it's hideous, prominently featuring ugly character models with absolutely zero style. And secondly, and perhaps most importantly, the controls barely function. In the horse riding, I had to wrestle with the glacial turning speed.
I've never seen anything like this. Maybe he's getting a head start to the glue factory, I don't know.
What the hell? You can't say that.
Did get to see myself on the screen though. Skiing, unfortunately, was very much the same. Wait, is that... It can't be. I kept crashing into the fence and losing all my speed, with the commentator once again being very rude.
Whoa, I tell ya, this course may just need to be rebuilt after he's done with it.
American football turned out to not be an actual game, but rather a series of drills where I had to either jump over or duck under obstacles. Once again, it simply didn't read my inputs properly, and let me tell you, it's a good bloody thing I'm wearing my helmet today. Finally, I tried out hang gliding, and that was just boring. I stood there with my arms outstretched, like a lemon, occasionally steering. The one redeeming feature of Motionsports, and it is a very good one, is that it gets you to take some photos at the start. These are then plastered across billboards in the results screen, and they are exceptional. However, nothing else is, sadly. Oh well. You know what they say, safety is important when dressed as Sonic, and so I put on my helmet and my Sonic hat. The second of two furry-themed racing boards games now, as we dive into Sonic Free Riders, a game that, despite its strong license, doesn't work very well at all.
Christ, this is awful. The worst one by far.
I'm still cross about it. Dr. Eggman, here brilliantly disguised as King Doc of Torregmania, is hosting the World Grand Prix, inviting Sonic and Tails and Idris Elba and the Hot One and the Racist One and the Robot Child One to come and compete for boarding supremacy. As with Crossboard 7, Sonic Free Riders controls by having players stand on an imaginary board and tilting left and right to steer. In theory. See, this game, far more so than Crossboard 7, fundamentally refused to read any of my inputs as more than a suggestion.
Oh, for the love of... Just turn! Turn!
Most of the time I had to use the wall to go around corners. The mandatory grinding mission took several agonizing attempts because accurately lining up with the rails was near impossible, and even the menus took hand gestures as double swipes, meaning you'd scroll past where you wanted to actually go. It is suitably Sonic-themed, with all the colour and joyousness that the series normally brings, and I did like being able to throw power-ups with one of your arms, but when you're left a broken mess cursing the game and everyone involved in it, you know something's not right. Do bear in mind that I was playing in a well-lit studio with plenty of space and a green screen behind me, theoretically giving the Kinect the best possible chance of tracking me correctly, but no, it simply didn't work well enough to be fun. Just 47%, according to the review average listed on Metacritic. The Biggest Loser Ultimate Workout is unsurprisingly a fitness game modelled after the US TV show of the same name. Plenty of modes are on offer and an absolute ton of unique exercises are available, all of which will be done alongside a virtual instructor who either critiques or praises your technique based on how fast or accurately you're completing the requested movement. That is, if you can actually get into the game. You see, no matter what I did, no matter how close, how far, how slow, or how fast I waved at the Kinect, I was not allowed past the menu screen. The controller didn't let me bypass it, and restarting the game didn't work either.
What the f is happening?
It was only when I reversed my hand and performed John Cena's patented "you can't see me" hand gesture that I was finally granted access. Unhelpfully, the menus were horrible to navigate too, and so by the time I'd struggled through the extremely limited character creator, I was already exhausted. I did some free play exercises and took part in a themed challenge mode where I had to perform continuous squats, which is hard for me because my knees are awful, as my crap avatar pushed a cannon up a hill. Is it a game from the show, perhaps? Maybe. Who's to say? All I know is that the biggest loser is me, because I've just played 10 Kinect games in a row. There's also a suite of low-calorie recipes, and it even lets you record a video diary so you can track your weight loss journey.
Why don't you start by telling us a little about yourself, why you want to do this, and what you hope to achieve by the end?
Well, my name's Ben. I'm in reasonable physical condition. I'm really tired. I've got bad knees. The Kinect doesn't work very well, and
okay, that's a wrap. Thanks.
Oh, you'll get him next time, bud. My knees hurt, my patience is tested, and this game scored 68% on Metacritic. Moving on. Oh, bloody hell, it's another one! I will say this right off the bat, though. This one's menus control like a dream. This is the only game in this launch lineup that doesn't make you use crap palm tracking to control a cursor, instead asking you to merely point your arm towards an option as reflected on screen. Gym games include a punching and kicking blockbuster game, as well as asking you to hula hoop up a hurricane. Jesus!
Don't make unnecessary journeys!
But traditional personal training sessions are also available. My favourites were the themed fitness classes, where I was able to greet my Zen yoga fitness instructor in a very non-awkward way before engaging in a gentle routine that didn't hurt too badly at all until I had to bend my knees. If you want to track those all-important calorie stats, you just need to hop over to YourShapeCenter.com, which in 2025 handily redirects to an extremely trustworthy website. Go on, let it scan your PC. Dare ya? I'm honestly a big fan of the minimalist presentation here, and it's certainly aged a whole lot better than most of the other stuff on this list. Now, it may be ropey and a bit crap as far as the Kinect goes, but if it motivates people to get up off the sofa and move about a bit, it can only be a good thing, right? Reviewers thought it was quite good, awarding it an average of 73% on Metacritic, with the likes of GameSpot and others praising the presentation and variety of workout routines on offer. And with that score of 73%, that takes the Kinect launch game review average to 59.58%. And there we have it, every Kinect launch title sort of reviewed in 2025. Did you have a favourite among them? You did? Well, you're a bold-faced liar. Get out! But also like the video and subscribe to the channel on your way. That would help a lot. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye!